Welcome to my kitchen. I don't know if you've heard. Baldur's Gate 3, Game of the Year! And it seems that lonely women of the internet everywhere are getting involved in this game where you can have multiple boyfriends and dress them up. And then, you know, there's the added drama with the mind flayers and the absolute and fighting with mechanics that not a lot of people are familiar with. I, however, am not one of these women, as I have played a game by Larian Studios before called Divinity Original Sin 2, which honestly was the perfect training wheels for me. So if you want to play Baldur's Gate 3, but you find the mechanics of the game absolutely jarring and appalling to learn, I recommend Divinity Original Sin 2, which honestly, that game is just as good. It was so cool to see, first of all, playing through, I haven't played through all of it yet, but playing Divinity 2 and then playing Baldur's Gate 3, you see like the contrast of how Larian knew what they were doing and then how they just seemingly perfected it in Baldur's Gate 3. Excellent game. I think it deserved all the awards that it got, but maybe I'm just a little bit biased because I'm a fantasy hoe. Anyway, since my brain cannot seemingly let go of all of these fantasy characters with deep emotional issues, what better way to celebrate the fact that my brain's gonna be nothing but February in the month of February by doing a little bit of Baldur's Gate 3 content. I was given some delicious patterns for Christmas. Bless my parents. They knew what I needed. And since I'm constantly feeling like my closet lacks a certain amount of whimsy, I enter a certain depression when I no longer have any whimsical, cute fairy clothes in my closet that rivals even the deepest sorrow of any Fae Lord out there. So of course I need to fix that. So I thought, why not just design a whole bunch of clothes based off of the Baldur's Gate 3 companion? I don't know where this list came from, but this happened. Mr. Obama! So, pretty straightforward, pretty simple. I kind of have no plan except for it's going to be all vaguely based off of the patterns that I already have, which most of them are very cottagecore-ish, which means it's going to be a very interesting challenge to try and combine the aesthetics, since I don't think any of the Baldur's Gate 3 companions really have a cottagecore-y aesthetic. I mean, maybe Halsin, but even then it's like maybe in a modern AU. Anyway, that man would rather just walk around in his full natural self than adorn his beautiful dad bod with a gingham shirt of any kind. Just the one with the collar and cute little wooden buttons with a little oak leaf and acorn just embroidered into the pocket. Oh, that would be so adorable. I gotta tell Torin about that. Wait, hold on a minute. Hi, yes, I'm just standing here recording my video for this week. I just thought of Halsin in a gingham button-up shirt with an acorn and oak leaf just embroidered on the pocket with wooden buttons, and I had to tell you immediately. Okay, it's ending. Anyway, I'm not really giving myself much time to work on this project. It's gonna be a very interesting challenge, but I already have like a couple of ideas that are running around my little brain that I'm excited to go make. I already have a couple of ideas running around my little brain that I'm really excited to make, so without further ado, let's get to design it. I forgot I have to clean up my desk, but we're gonna do that first. Half of it is just old food dishes from mornings past, because I just make my breakfast and go straight to my room because I have a hard time getting my breakfast down before noon. Does that happen with anyone else who has some sort of neurodivergence or ADHD? Oh, who's that? I see someone. Who is it? It's Angora. No one else, it's just Angora. I'm just Angora. Never mind. Oh, hello. Meow. Oh. Okay. 1, 2. Alright, that solves that problem. Not that they're a problem. No, you could never be a problem. Oh. There we go. Now, normally when I do this, I usually like to do my design sketches traditionally because I feel like seeing the colors comes out just a little bit more accurate. But I think today I'm gonna spice things up and do it digitally, which I know I have done that before. Let's get crack-a-lackin'. I have gotta tell you, I haven't even made it to like Act 2, which probably says a lot more about me than anything that the game has to offer. that's besides the point. It is a very, very rare occasion that I fall in love with all the characters in a given piece of media. Baldur's Gate 3. When I tell you that I would die for each and every single one of those bastards, I would. I would eat their tadpoles for breakfast and then stare lovingly at them all as I let my flesh be contorted into a mind flayer squid monster. Of course, Will is no exception. He is just the goodest bean. He reminds me, and I've been told this by other people, but he's just such an absolute prince. What a babe! I have a lot of love for him and his chivalry and the way that he talks. I just want to give him a pack of goldfish and put him in a nice comfy chair and say, go take a nap, baby. You deserve it. Will's outfit, especially, I wanted it to be very Hobbit themed, so I used the milkmaid top from the patterns that I was given, and then I did like these little like high-waisted trousers with a little peekaboo element in there between the top and the hem of the trousers. If you know, you know. The milkmaid top is very much inspired off of his armor. Now that I look at it, it's like, oh, this is a very cottagecore looking clown, but I'm trying to ignore that image in my head. Just be like, no, it's cute. It's fun. I wanted to do like a heavily detailed like embroidery part in the bodice, which ended up accidentally looking like a heart because of all like the hidden details I added. There's these two spiraling curved horns that are framing his sword. We've got little curls of eldritch blast that's kind of outlining and seeping out in between the little silver buttons that go down the front of the bodice. We have like these little eye motifs that represent his stone eye. Of course, we've got the gold that's kind of like eclipsing the silver buttons, foreshadow and kind of hint at Mazora, which no spoilers, but if you know, you know. Added a very regal looking like trim part to the kind of top part of the bodice with some gold trim. The trousers, it was really simple. I just added a side seam and then slapped his sword in there, which after I did that I realized they looked like active pants. But let's face it, Will would go hiking no hesitation, so I think that kind of fits. And the waistcoat, which again is inspired off of his top coat with more of that kind of eldritch blasty looking embroidery, and then we've got the 3 buttons on the bodice with one gray one in the middle that represents his little stone eye. I don't know why, I just like it. I just think that motif is really nice. And then I added a little headscarf with some little details and a little choker with a little sword, and that was pretty much it for Will. He's such a babe. He deserves all the cookies he could ever want or need in this life. I want him to have all the good things. Ugh, they just don't make video game men like they used to. Wait, this game came out in 2023. What am I saying? They just don't make video game men like Larry and Stu. It's a little controversial. Maybe not. Speaking of controversy, Shadowheart. Shadowheart. Shadowheart does whatever God's favorite princess can. I love her very much. I want to give her smooches. I couldn't think of anything that rhymed with smooches. That's pathetic. You know that song that's viral that kind of goes like, it's It Girl? I know people use it to describe Astarion a lot, but I'm pretty sure it would just be Shadowheart. Like, I could just see her doing dramatic hair whips. Ew, David! Ew, Astarion! Imagine if Shadowheart was a valley girl. Oh! I guarantee it. Baldur's Gate 3 would become 10,000% more funny. My battery's dying. Hold on. Oh, that's so bad, but oh god, it's funny. It's so funny. Anyway, Shadowheart is just, she's a tall glass of very dark and traumatized wine. So Shadowheart's design is a beautiful pinafore with a top underneath that is heavily inspired by her resting look. I was having a lot of trouble with the design of the top specifically because I wanted it to have that that deep cut V, but also have it be stylish and less revealing to the titties because I'm not that confident. So I went with a couple of different ideas with trying to make it like a wrap top with a tie, and then I ultimately just decided to do medieval kind of inspired one with tie-on sleeves in different sections with a very sheer under top with all of these like sparkly beads and embroidery that kind of represent like how she's just a beautiful princess of the knight. It's got all of these silver elements that represent her armor, and with a beautiful embroidered motif right in the center of the chest that also pays homage to her armor as well. I added in more details to add more subtlety to her class, like her domain is Domain of the Trickster, so I added Trickster. They had that little plague doctor looking dude, and then I added that little embroidery piece, and then also a healing spell. The pinafore itself was difficult because I wanted it to look like her armor, but I could not for the life of me figure out how to make the brown part of the bodice look good. So I ended up kind of working on the skirt, which the skirt I had ideas to do like section panels where some of it was like matching embroidery with the bodice, having like just this plain blue color that had embroidery all across it to help more of a cohesive look, but I ended up scrapping that and just going with like a nice plain blue pinafore with the waistband being brown with some brown embroidery, the bodice as well with some nice beautiful little silver beads to add into that kind of idea of having like different panels kind of peeking out throughout the skirt, because it's going to be very full. I like my skirts like I like my belly, very full. There's going to be all these little like embroidery pieces of like chain that are coming down, and then they have like the same thing happening with the strap. Basically it for Shadowheart. She's a prissy baby, but she's my prissy baby. If you've gotten to the end of the video and decided to rewatch it, which, dang! Hi again! I hope you're enjoying this mayhem. You'll notice that Lae'zel is missing from my lineup, and that's because I couldn't for the life of me figure out what to do for her design. So instead I did Halsin, because I have a good friend who's a Halsin simp. And as I said in the beginning of this video, I knew exactly what I wanted to do, so I went. Halsin is just a beefcake. He's a tall drink of let me run around naked in the woods. And if that doesn't give you all you need to know about him, I don't know what does. For Halsin's fit, I wanted to go a little bit more simple. I did a collared shirt with some adventure shorts because I've always wanted a pair of adventure shorts and I've never actually gotten my hands on them. I have this pale green like gingham kind of fabric that I kind of want to use for this project if I ever get to it. And then I added his symbol, like the Oak Father symbol, as an embroidered detail on the pocket, along with gold buttons to match his armor. And then for the shorts, which were pretty straightforward, they're just green adventure shorts, like the shorts you would take with you hiking or patrolling around as a park ranger, which, side note, I'm pretty sure Halsin would be like a park manager or a park ranger in modern EU. Just saying. Like, I could see him wearing this outfit, hands down, no questions asked. And then I added some bear paw details, because he's just a big old bear I want to hug a lot. And then I added some detailing to match the collar on the hem of the shorts, and then added his little like tattoo scar kind of thing that kind of weaves throughout the bear paws, and that was it. Pretty straightforward. I don't really have much else to say about that. Now we're moving on to everyone's favorite dancing queen, Carlac. Honestly, this design was one that kind of just hit me like a truck, so I just kind of spared no time in getting this piece done as quickly as possible. I knew I wanted there to be like a turtleneck with the embroidery that matches her infernal engine, with all like the sprawling red thread that matches her scar patterns, and then I even added in like some beads with some red thread in the middle to the vents in her skin that she has to help release the heat. And then the pinafore is actually relatively simple. It was a little bit hard to make details for because I didn't know what direction I wanted to go in that would simple enough to still be casual but still represents Carlac. So I ended up just doing like gold buttons with some detailing on the actual pinafore because I knew I wanted to add a corset belt. So the corset belt has details from her tattoos, and of course you've got like the battle axe embroidered emblem running down the length of the holes where the gold laces go, and then you've got all these rings from her that are inspired from her armor, which I thought that detail is one of my favorites to do. And then doing the pinafore, I knew I wanted to add a little bit more detail to make it more Carlac-ish. I also really liked how the plain black pinafore looked, but it just didn't scream Carlac, so then I ended up just going in and adding some black embroidered details to semi-match how her armor looks, which maybe I'll do more of those details around the hem, but again, I just wanted to keep it relatively simple. But this was one of my favorite ones to design, especially that turtleneck. I need it in my life. It has me in a chokehold. Moving on to everyone's favorite wizard, Gail. Mr. I eat boots like you for breakfast. This man, I love him so much, but man, if you do not have a cup of tea beside you when he opens his mouth or even notices your existence, you're gonna be thirsty because of how much he talks. I love him for it, but at the same time, Gail, please. Time is of the essence. I love him so much. He's a sweetheart. I want to just put him next to Will, nice comfy chair, and be like, here, have some cookies. Here's a book. Have fun. I love you. Again, when I tell you I don't have a favorite character in this game, they're all just so well written. I love them. And Gail, again, is no exception. He's just this nerd. I like nerds. I'm a nerd. What do you want me to do? Not fall in love? I can't. This already happened. Anyway, so for this one, I'm using one of the other puffed sleeve tops patterns. I really, really like Gail's armor, so I really wanted to represent that in the top, as well as kind of maybe mixing it in throughout the skirt. So you see I've got the little star pattern that's embroidered on the sleeves that he has on his sleeves, and then this under part of white that's kind of peeking out. I started to go with like this star theme to kind of represent the orb that he has and the weave in that. But then when I added the actual the symbol that he has on his chest to the bodice, it competed for attention, and so I ended up just going with a simple star pattern. The actual lace up part of the bodice is inspired by how Gail keeps his armor on, because I love those clips, and the red thread adds such a nice detail. And then I added in some white beads just trailing up the sleeves too, just to add a little bit more zhuzh. And then we've got a belt that of course is very heavily inspired off of Gail's belt and armor. Not really all that inspired, pretty self-explanatory, but together the fit just, it works. Is it a little bit costumey? Yeah. Do I care? No. The skirt, for some reason, gave me a lot of trouble. I wanted to do so many star motifs, but also mix in elements of the weave, but I couldn't figure out how to do it. That didn't look grandma's going to the store to buy blanket material and she's gonna make quilts, if that makes any sense. I didn't want it to look printed patterny. That's the best way I know how to describe it. So finally, I came up with the idea of using my initial concept for Shadowheart's pinafore into Gail's skirt. I keep wanting to call him Will for some reason. I don't know why. That's not his name. That's not his name! So then I decided to do sections of this darker purple and really heavily gathered, so that way when you twirl, you can see all the pieces, but it still is not hugely noticeable to make it look clownish. You've got all the starry bits that kind of lead up to how it looks underneath the bodice. And then I added in elements of the weave, kind of just embroidering on top of all of it with little bits of like a lighter purple kind of sprawling out underneath. Added a simple choker, and that was it. Gail's outfit's done. It looks so cute and vintagey, but like fantasy vintagey, if that makes any sense. Maybe it's the headband I added in the end, but overall, this is one I was really, really, really excited about. Nothing compares to how excited I was to make the final one. This is what sparked me even making this video. If you know me, and if you've known me for a while, you know I love me a good vampire. Not this kind. Wow. This guy. I guess it's just kind of been a thing. Just the thought of being nibbled on like a snack, but affectionately. So it's no surprise that when this game first came out, my eyeballs immediately bulged at the sight of Asaria. Hearing the voice lines, and then hearing like lines based off of clips that I would see like come across my feed on various social medias. Oh my god. This sassy man. He's hilarious. And sexy. He's quite sexy. He's written so well. He's so well balanced. Some of the fast quips that he says in just random moments. Sir, you just pull that out of your back pocket? Like, where'd you hear that saying where you thought, oh, I'll remember that for a moment where I get to say this and leave everyone questioning their sanity? What's not to love about Astarion? The murdering I could do less of, but it adds character. I knew this outfit was kind of gonna be the death of me, and as I finished it, and as I was drawing it, the more it just had me in a chokehold. I need this outfit in my life. I need it. Like a sea sponge needs water. So I'm using the dress pattern that was given to me as my main inspiration. You know, like most things I make, I want to do my own thing and still be true to the character. I feel like Astarian's resting shirt is such an iconic look that I had to make it into a dress. So of course you've got the lace up, and then the frill, and then it's a little bit higher waistline with a nice flowy skirt, and then the sleeves of course don't match, but I just felt like doing that frilly sleeve that matches the pattern just looked super cute. And then as far as like added details go, I of course wanted to add his scar that he has in the back, on his back, but there was no way I was gonna draw that, so I just kind of found an image and plopped it in, along with some red beading just on the side where he has his puncture wounds just kind of dripping down. Have you ever seen those necklaces or tops that just look like blood but it's all like bleeding? That's the vibe I wanted to do, and I think it fits Astarian perfectly. And there wasn't much else I really wanted to do for the dress aside from little dagger and blood drop embroidery along the hem. And then we get to the fun part, the Astarian cardigan. Try saying that 5 times fast, I bet you can't do it. This cardigan, I kind of already had pattern pieces for, because I'm tearing apart an old cardigan that was a little bit too small for me, but I still really liked the fit of. So I'm probably just gonna use that if I ever make this. Dramatic flowy sleeves. I really wanted it to read almost tea gown-ish, but still with like all the dramatic zhuzh that Astarian brings to any Baldur's Gate game. And it's obviously inspired by his armor with the purple detail, and then of course you've got the bright red velvet inlay. And then I thought it would be cool if like the cardigan could close with like 2 dagger pins, which I don't even know if that would work, but it looks cool in the design. Then of course you've got lace spits sticking out of the collar and the sleeves, more of that red velvet like on the inside, just makes me happy. I really wanted to keep the cardigan relatively simple, even though I could have added a lot more detail. I felt like the top of the cardigan honestly was such a showstopper that it didn't need much else. On the bottom of the hem you do see some more like white lace coming off of it and then paying a little bit more homage to the pattern on his armor. Then I added a ribbon choker just to add a little bit more emphasis to where his puncture wounds are, with some blood beading dripping down. That was the Astarian outfit, which wraps this video up in a beautiful symphony. I am so in love with every single one of these designs, and I cannot wait for a future where I get to make them and wear these outfits. Some of them are just borderline costumey, but I feel like they are just casual enough that you can wear your Baldur's Gate pride based off of my favorite group of idiots, not be looked at a little bit weirdly. I mean, all of these are kind of just staples I need in my closet anyway, kind of. And I have the patterns. I have no good reason other than I thought it would be pretty. I want to show my love for these beautifully written characters, because if you haven't played Baldur's Gate, I highly recommend it. And it's definitely worth the money. However, if you need to save it for other things, please do. But just know, that game, life-changing. I hope you liked all of these little designs. Like, they're just thoughts that I thought would be cute. Designs that I would wear, but still show my love for these amazing characters. I'm super happy with how all these came out. If I end up making any of them, I'll of course be recording it. And if you guys end up making them, please share it with me. Tag me at the Soupiest Artist. I'm the Soupiest Artist everywhere. Follow me on my various socials if you want to get the happenings on what's happening in my world, and especially if you want to see more Baldur's Gate 3 content. That's where I'll be posting most of it. And if you would like to get a closer look on all these outfits, I will be posting them over on my Instagram. Support me on Etsy if you would like stickers and fun things like that. Or you could also support me on Ko-Fi if you want to see the work in progress graveyard and hear my thoughts behind the process and some of my pieces or anything like that. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe if you would like to see more soupy content. I upload when I upload. Still trying to get into a rhythm, but we'll get there. Please tell someone you care about you love them. And remember, art is like soup. It can be anything. Okay, bye. I'm as fragile as a kitten up in a tree. I don't want to have to explain why my introduction was done on a chairlift, even though I feel like I maybe should have gotten a little bit more of my introduction done, but I felt very awkward going to explain that I was going to draw fictional characters in very cute clothes that I will then hopefully make for my grandparents. Or normal young adult things. Doody-dee-doody-dee-doo. You know I am that girl. Then don any amount of gingham print. Then any amount of. You hungry little baby? That's a nice butt. Should have named you Fluffy Bottom the first. I mean, it's not too much workout. Workout? God! I'm pretty sure they gave Shadowheart a brain on purpose so she could just go to her enemies and smack them dead in the face. No hesitation. I guarantee you 90% of Lae'zel and Shadowheart's fights start that way. Lae'zel says something very insensitive and you just see Shadowheart just smack her in the face with her braid. All of a sudden, people are placing bets on who will win. Weird freaking video. That outro was the worst. This was very unintentional, but I accidentally look like a Starian today.
You know I'm saying.
Oi, back to editing. Or back to. I have yet to get started. Good lord. Breathe!